Have you ever sensed that someone dislikes you but hides it behind a mask of politeness? You're not alone. In life, we often encounter subtle behaviors, hidden resentments, fake smiles, and half-hearted compliments that can chip away at our peace of mind. Recognizing these signs is essential, not just to protect your emotional energy, but to maintain your inner balance, as guided by Stoic philosophy. Today, we'll uncover 8 subtle signs someone dislikes you and is hiding it, exploring the psychology behind these actions and how they affect your well-being. But this isn't just about spotting negativity. It's about building resilience, letting go of toxic relationships, and practicing emotional detachment to create space for healthier connections. By understanding these behaviors, you'll learn to respond calmly, focus on what you can control, and embrace the strength of your self-worth. Stay tuned for practical tips inspired by Stoicism to handle these situations confidently and clearly. If you value personal growth and the pursuit of inner peace, subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official and join our journey to a more mindful life. 1. Silence during your success. Have you ever achieved something meaningful, only to be met with silence or lukewarm acknowledgement from someone you thought cared? This behavior, silence during your success, is a clear sign that someone may harbor hidden resentment or jealousy. It's subtle yet powerful, leaving you questioning whether your triumphs are worthy or if you're imagining the lack of enthusiasm. Stoic philosophy teaches us to separate our self-worth from external validation. True contentment comes from within, not from the approval of others. When someone dismisses or ignores your success, their reaction reflects their insecurities, not your value. Understanding this can free you from unnecessary doubt and help you focus on what truly matters, your growth and inner peace. Imagine sharing a personal victory, like landing a promotion or completing a challenging project. Instead of celebrating with you, they offer a cold, indifferent response like, "Oh, that's nice," or worse, complete silence. Such behavior can sting, especially when you've supported their achievements in the past. But here's the reality. Not everyone is capable of celebrating others' success without comparing it to their own. The Stoic response to this behavior is rooted in emotional resilience. First, recognize that their reaction is out of your control. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, we must focus on our actions and let go of the need for external approval. Celebrate your success wholeheartedly, even if others fail to join in. Next, practice emotional detachment. Don't internalize their indifference as a reflection of your worth. Instead, see it for what it is, a reflection of their struggles with jealousy or self-esteem. By reframing their reaction, you can shield yourself from feeling disappointed or hurt. Here's an actionable solution. Shift your focus to those who genuinely uplift you. Spend time with people who share your joy without hesitation. If you find yourself repeatedly facing indifference or dismissal from someone, evaluate their role in your life. Is this a relationship worth investing in, or is it time to redirect your energy toward more positive connections? Consider this example. A close friend who always shares their wins with you, but barely reacts to yours. Initially, you might brush it off, thinking they're busy or distracted. Over time, however, a pattern emerges, and you begin to feel undervalued. The Stoic approach here is clear. Stop seeking validation where it won't be given. Instead, acknowledge your accomplishments and celebrate them with those who truly care. In the end, silence during your success is not your burden to bear. Embrace your achievements without hesitation, knowing that your self-worth isn't tied to others' reactions. Focus on what you can control, your response, growth, and joy. As you let go of the need for external validation, you'll find peace, strength, and clarity in your journey toward emotional freedom. 2. Exploiting public embarrassment. Have you ever been in a social setting where someone shares a story about you, not to uplift, but to embarrass you? Exploiting public embarrassment is a tactic people use to assert dominance or gain attention at your expense. It's subtle yet damaging, often disguised as humor or just a joke. Stoic philosophy reminds us to remain composed in such situations, focusing on what we can control, our reaction, our dignity, and our ability to rise above pettiness. Imagine being at a party where someone shares a personal story about you, perhaps an embarrassing moment from years ago. The room erupts in laughter, but inside, you feel small and exposed. When you confront them later, they brush it off with, "Come on, I was just kidding." This deflection minimizes your feelings and shifts the blame to you for not taking a joke. It's a subtle form of manipulation, designed to make you feel powerless in the moment. The Stoic approach to such behavior is rooted in emotional detachment. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Their attempt to humiliate you reflects their insecurity or need for validation. It's not about you, but about them. By recognizing this, you can protect your peace and refuse to let their words affect your self-worth. Here's how to handle these situations effectively. First, respond with calm confidence. When someone tries to embarrass you, avoid reacting defensively or angrily. That only gives them power. Instead, stay composed and say something neutral like, "That's an interesting way to remember it." Then steer the conversation to another topic. This disarms their attempt to belittle you and shows your emotional resilience. Second, set boundaries. If the behavior continues, address it directly but respectfully. You might say, "I'd appreciate it if you didn't share personal stories like that. It makes me uncomfortable." This establishes a clear expectation for how you wish to be treated, without escalating the situation unnecessarily. Lastly, reevaluate the relationship. If someone repeatedly uses your vulnerabilities for their amusement, ask yourself, is this relationship adding value to my life? True friends lift you. They don't use your past mistakes to entertain others. If they can't respect your boundaries, it may be time to create distance. Remember, embarrassment thrives on reaction. When you remain calm and refuse to let their words define you, their power diminishes. By practicing emotional detachment, you reclaim control over your narrative and protect your inner peace. Ask yourself, am I letting others control my emotions through their actions? If so, redirect your focus to what truly matters, your dignity, growth, and peace of mind. By choosing composure over chaos and resilience over overreaction, you embody the strength and clarity celebrated in Stoic philosophy. Let their words fade into insignificance as you stand firm in your self-worth. 3. Playing the victim when confronted. Have you ever confronted someone about their behavior, only for them to turn the situation around and make themselves the victim? Playing the victim when confronted is a classic tactic used by those who dislike taking accountability. Instead of addressing the issue, they shift the focus onto their feelings, making you feel guilty for even bringing it up. This behavior can leave you frustrated and questioning your judgment. Stoic philosophy teaches us to approach such situations with clarity and self-control. As Marcus Aurelius advised, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When someone plays the victim, they are attempting to manipulate your emotions. By staying calm and rational, you can prevent their tactics from derailing the conversation. Imagine this scenario. You notice a friend consistently canceling plans at the last minute. When you bring it up, they respond with, "I'm so overwhelmed right now. I can't believe you're upset with me." Suddenly, you find yourself apologizing, even though their actions were the issue. This redirection is a way for them to avoid accountability while placing an emotional burden on you. The first step in addressing this behavior is to stay composed. Don't let their emotional shift dictate your response. Instead, acknowledge their feelings without losing sight of the issue. For example, you might say, "I understand you're feeling overwhelmed, but I still think it's important to talk about how this affects our plans." This approach shows empathy while gently steering the conversation back to the matter at hand. Next, set clear boundaries. People who play the victim often thrive on ambiguity, so be direct and concise. State your concerns clearly and focus on the behavior rather than their character. For instance, say, "I've noticed a pattern of canceled plans, and it's starting to impact our friendship. How can we address this together?" This shifts the focus to finding a solution rather than assigning blame. At the same time, protect your emotional energy. If their behavior persists despite your efforts, it may be necessary to reevaluate the relationship. Ask yourself, am I investing in a connection that respects my time and emotions? If the answer is no, consider limiting your involvement with this person. As the Stoics remind us, we cannot control others, but we can control where we direct our attention and effort. Remember, playing the victim is a deflection, not a reflection of your worth. By staying grounded and refusing to be drawn into their narrative, you maintain control over your emotions and the conversation. Their inability to take responsibility is not your burden to carry. Ask yourself, am I letting someone else's deflection dictate my peace? If so, refocus on what you can control, your reactions, your boundaries, and your well-being. By doing so, you embody the strength, self-respect, and inner calm that Stoicism champions. Choose to lead with clarity and let their tactics fall away. 4. Rehashing negative stories about you. Have you noticed someone who always brings up your past mistakes, even when the moment doesn't call for it? Rehashing negative stories about you is a subtle but damaging behavior. It often disguises itself as humor or casual conversation, but serves a deeper purpose: to undermine your confidence and keep you in a box defined by your past. Stoic philosophy reminds us that the past does not define who we are. It is our present actions and mindset that shape us. Imagine being at a social gathering, and a colleague jokingly says, "Remember that time you completely messed up the project? That was classic you." The room laughs, but inside, you feel exposed. Such remarks may seem harmless on the surface, but repeated over time, they chip away at your self-esteem. This behavior is often a reflection of their need to feel superior by highlighting their perceived flaws. The Stoic response to this is to detach emotionally. As Marcus Aurelius taught, we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we react to them. When someone brings up your past mistakes, remember that their words say more about their character than yours. It is not your responsibility to carry the weight of their insecurity. To handle this, start by shifting the narrative. If someone repeatedly brings up a negative story, calmly but firmly redirect the conversation. For example, respond with, "Yes, that was a learning moment for me, and I've grown so much since then." This approach disarms their attempt to belittle you and shows your emotional resilience. Another way to address this behavior is to set boundaries. If the person persists in rehashing old stories, it's okay to call them out respectfully. Try saying, "I'd appreciate it if we could focus on the present rather than revisiting old mistakes." This communicates your discomfort without escalating the situation. It's also important to recognize when to let go. If someone consistently brings up your past, despite your attempts to redirect or set boundaries, it may be time to evaluate the relationship. Healthy connections are built on mutual respect, not on repeated reminders of past failures. Remember, you are not your past mistakes. Every experience, good or bad, has contributed to your growth and strength. When others try to use your past against you, see it as an opportunity to practice self-control and reinforce your sense of self-worth. Their words are merely noise. Your value remains intact. Ask yourself, am I letting someone else's words define my worth? If the answer is yes, it's time to take back your narrative. Focus on what you can control, your present and future actions. This mindset will not only protect your peace, but also reflect the emotional strength championed by Stoic principles. Avoiding meaningful conversations. Have you ever tried to share something important with someone, only to be met with indifference or a quick change of subject? This behavior, avoiding meaningful conversations, is a subtle yet telling sign that someone might not value or respect the depth of your relationship. Stoic philosophy teaches us to seek relationships that nurture our growth and to let go of those that drain our emotional energy. Meaningful conversations are the cornerstone of genuine connections. When someone repeatedly avoids discussing important topics or dismisses your attempts to share, it creates a distance. Imagine opening up about a personal struggle, only for the person to respond with, "Oh, that's too bad. Anyway, did you hear about?" Such interactions can leave you feeling unseen and unimportant, and over time, they erode trust. The Stoic approach to this behavior is rooted in emotional detachment and self-reflection. Recognize that you cannot force someone to care or engage deeply. As Epictetus reminds us, our role is to focus on what we can control, our actions, words, and emotional responses, not the behavior of others. If someone avoids meaningful conversations, it may reflect their discomfort with vulnerability or their unwillingness to invest emotionally. To address this, start by observing patterns. Is this avoidance consistent, or is it situational? If it's a recurring issue, acknowledge how it makes you feel. Try saying, "I've noticed that when I bring up personal topics, the conversation shifts. Is everything okay?" This approach invites openness while showing that you value honest communication. If the person deflects or denies the behavior, take it as a signal to recalibrate your expectations. Not everyone is capable of or interested in meaningful connection, and that's okay. What's important is recognizing this and adjusting your energy accordingly. As the Stoics advise, release the need for external validation and focus on relationships that align with your values. In some cases, you may need to set boundaries. If their avoidance consistently undermines your emotional needs, limiting the depth of your interactions with them is okay. Save your vulnerability and trust for those who reciprocate it. Surrounding yourself with people who respect your emotions is essential for maintaining inner peace. Remember, avoiding meaningful conversations isn't a reflection of your worth. It's often a mirror of the other person's limitations. Instead of taking it personally, see it as an opportunity to refine your relationships and focus on those that truly matter. Ask yourself, am I pouring energy into someone who avoids connecting with me? If the answer is yes, take a step back. By prioritizing relationships that encourage personal growth, mindfulness, and emotional clarity, you create space for genuine connection and the inner peace championed by Stoicism. Focus on what you can control: your choices, your reactions, and the company you keep. 6. Inconsistent interest. Have you ever felt like someone only cares when it's convenient for them? This is one of the most subtle yet telling signs of hidden dislike: inconsistent interest. In Stoic philosophy, we're reminded to observe behaviors rather than words, as actions often reveal the truth. Someone who only shows up when they need something or has no one else around isn't prioritizing you. They're simply using you to fill a void. This behavior isn't always loud or obvious. It might look like a friend who calls you only when they're in trouble, or someone who responds enthusiastically to plans they initiate but fades away when you propose something. These interactions can leave you feeling undervalued and questioning your worth. But here's the truth: their actions say more about their priorities than your values. To protect your inner peace, it's essential to recognize this pattern early. First, detach emotionally. As the Stoics teach, focus on what's within your control, your reactions and choices, not their inconsistency. Accept that their interest doesn't define you. Instead of getting frustrated, treat this as a lesson in discernment. Not everyone deserves equal access to your time and energy. Next, set boundaries. When someone reaches out only when they need something, calmly assess the situation. Ask yourself, does this serve me, or am I simply being used? If the latter, it's okay to say no. Saying no isn't selfish, it's self-respect. And when their lack of reciprocity becomes clear, don't be afraid to pull back. Relationships thrive on mutual effort, not one-sided dependency. Imagine you have a colleague who only contacts you when they need help with work, but disappears when you seek advice. At first, you might justify their behavior. Maybe they're just busy. But over time, the pattern becomes clear. You feel drained and unsupported. The Stoic response here is simple yet powerful. Stop expecting what they can't give. Instead, redirect your energy toward colleagues who value and support you. This isn't about retaliation or resentment. It's about clarity and balance. As you begin to limit your emotional investment in inconsistent people, you'll notice a shift. You'll have more energy to focus on meaningful connections and personal growth, cultivating relationships that nourish rather than deplete you. Remember, emotional detachment isn't indifference. It's a tool to protect your peace and maintain your dignity. When someone shows inconsistent interest, let their actions guide your response. Control your emotions, prioritize your well-being, and move forward with confidence. If this resonates, take a moment to reflect. Who in my life shows me inconsistent interest, and how can I respond wisely? By applying these lessons, you can transform frustration into freedom, an essential step on your journey to inner peace and emotional resilience. 7. Passive-aggressive behavior. Have you ever dealt with someone who expresses their dislike not through confrontation, but through subtle, frustrating behaviors? Passive-aggressive behavior is one of the most insidious ways someone can show their disdain while pretending everything is fine. It might look like missed commitments, sarcastic comments, or backhanded compliments, but the effect is always the same. It leaves you feeling off balance and questioning the relationship. Stoic philosophy teaches us to approach such situations with calm observation and emotional control. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Passive-aggressive individuals rely on your reaction to validate their subtle attacks. Recognizing this gives you the power to disengage from their manipulative tactics. Imagine you've worked hard on a project, only for a colleague to say, "Well, it's better than I expected from you." It sounds like a compliment, but the sting of condescension is unmistakable. Or perhaps a friend constantly forgets plans you made together, claiming they're just busy while making time for others. These behaviors may seem minor in isolation, but over time they erode trust and leave you feeling undervalued. The Stoic response to passive-aggressive behavior begins with detachment. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a step back and analyze the situation. Is their behavior a reflection of their insecurities or frustrations? Most likely it is. Their actions are not about you, they're about their inability to communicate openly or handle their own emotions. To address this, start by setting clear boundaries. For example, if someone makes a sarcastic remark, respond calmly but firmly. "I'd appreciate it if we could keep things constructive." This shows you won't tolerate disrespect while maintaining your composure. If the behavior persists, don't hesitate to have an honest conversation. Ask them directly, "Is there something on your mind? I'd rather we talk about it openly than through comments." This invites transparency while putting the responsibility back on them. At the same time, reevaluate the relationship. If someone consistently relies on passive-aggressive tactics, ask yourself, is this relationship bringing me peace or stress? Healthy connections are built on mutual respect and open communication. If this person refuses to change or acknowledge their behavior, it may be time to step back and prioritize your well-being. Remember, you cannot control how others act, but you can control how you respond. By refusing to engage in their passive-aggressive games, you protect your peace and demonstrate emotional strength. Instead of allowing their negativity to define the relationship, focus on what you can control: your actions, your boundaries, and your ability to move forward. 8. Forced eye contact or gestures. Have you ever sensed something was off during a conversation, not from the words spoken, but from the body language? Forced eye contact or unnatural gestures can reveal hidden feelings of discomfort, resentment, or dislike. In Stoic philosophy, observation and discernment are key to understanding others while protecting your own peace of mind. When someone dislikes you but hides it, their body language often betrays their true emotions. They might avoid eye contact entirely, shift their gaze quickly, or give you a smile that feels more like a smirk. On the surface, these gestures may seem subtle, but they carry a message. Their words may say one thing, but their body says another. Imagine speaking with someone who nods along but glances at their phone or scans the room for an escape. Or they force a stiff smile that lacks warmth, signaling their discomfort. Such behaviors might leave you feeling uneasy, wondering if you're imagining the disconnect. The truth is, you're likely picking up on their unspoken emotions. Your instincts are sharper than you think. The Stoic approach here is to remain calm and rational. Instead of reacting emotionally or letting their gestures affect your self-esteem, focus on controlling your response. Understand that their behavior reflects their inner struggles, not their worth. They may feel threatened by your presence or simply lack the emotional maturity to express themselves honestly. To navigate these situations, start by observing patterns. One awkward interaction could be a fluke, but repeated forced gestures are likely intentional or subconscious indicators of their discomfort. Use this awareness to adjust your expectations of the relationship. Not everyone will like you, and that's okay. What matters is how you choose to respond. Next, maintain your composure and confidence. Avoid mirroring their discomfort or becoming overly accommodating in an attempt to win their approval. Instead, stay present in the conversation, offer genuine warmth, and set an example of emotional stability. As the Stoics remind us, your strength lies in how you carry yourself, regardless of others' behavior. If the behavior persists, consider addressing it subtly. You might say, "Is everything okay? You seem a bit distracted." This approach shows empathy while inviting honesty. If they deny any issue, take their words at face value, but continue observing their actions. Ultimately, forced eye contact or stiff gestures are not about you, they're about them. By practicing emotional detachment and staying grounded in your values, you'll avoid letting their discomfort disrupt your peace. Remember, your self-worth isn't determined by how others treat you, but by how you choose to navigate these interactions. Ask yourself, am I letting their gestures influence my inner calm? If the answer is yes, shift your focus back to what you can control, your reactions, your mindset, and your ability to maintain inner balance. This is where true strength lies. Recognizing the 8 subtle signs that someone dislikes you and is hiding it is not about judging others. It's about protecting your peace and prioritizing relationships that nurture your growth. As Stoic philosophy teaches, our power lies in how we respond, not in trying to control the actions of others. By observing behaviors, setting boundaries, and staying emotionally grounded, you reclaim your self-worth and create space for genuine connections. Life is too short to invest your energy in toxic relationships or dwell on negativity. Focus on what you can control, your mindset, your actions, and the company you keep. Remember, the way others treat you reflects their character, not your value. Respond with clarity, act with confidence, and let go of what doesn't serve you. If this video resonates with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Stoic Narratives Official, and join us on this journey toward emotional resilience, personal growth, and inner peace. Together, let's master the art of living.